This Snazzy Tapier production is made possible by our patrons. If you'd like to join them, head over to patreon.com/snazzytapier to get early access to new episodes, access to the members-only Discord, and our exclusive monthly newsletter. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to A Game of One's Own, a podcast all about solo and duet TTRPGs. I am your host, Maddy Searle. My pronouns are they, them. And today I am joined by the incredible Michelle Kelly.
It's me.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. I'm the incredible Michelle Kelly. My pronouns are she, her. I'm an actor, voice actor, AP performer, and a tired girl because it's day 3 of the con. But we're pushing through. We're pushing through.
We can do it. And today we are playing Haunting, which is a duet TTRPG by Arcane Atlas Games. And Michelle and I will be working together to tell the story of a sentient house that wants to devour its occupants. Before we begin, this game comes with some inbuilt content warnings. Michelle and I have discussed our individual lines and veils, but these topics may come up during play. Abandonment, death, despair, intense emotions, isolation, loneliness, loss of agency, manipulation, supernatural threat, violence. Apologies for the very fun list.
I think I went through all of those this morning when I woke up with a hangover. So.
I get that. If you need to leave at any time, that is absolutely okay. Your well-being always comes first. But now to explain a little bit about how the game works. This is a game about a house that has come to life and wishes to become more corporeal. It wants to exist in some more sense than a normal house. To accomplish its goal, it will need to absorb the essence of other living things. And the house is, as many houses are, occupied by occupants. But that is a technical term in this game. Under their stewardship, the house will change and adapt to their lifestyles, renovations, and deeds. And as we generate each new occupant, we need to think about why they moved in, how they plan to make it their own, and how they're likely to react to the spookiness that inevitably comes up. Rooms have traits like basic or spooky. The house has traits like natural or supernatural. And during the game, we will be prompted to change the house, which may include adding or modifying a room, adding a trait to a room or the house itself. And when prompted to take a rest, we will need to choose the length of time that the house will sit vacant for and use the table in the book to see if we have any other prompts that we need to fulfill. Now, as we begin the game proper, we need to awaken the house. And so I'll pass over to Michelle, who will do the honors.
Okay. Narrator voice. All right. It was in the long dark of many vacant years that you were brought into being, not knowing how long you had stood alone before you awoke. You came into this world hungry, empty, resenting the absence of your creator, willing yourself to exist. Your frame now creaks and groans from its long sleep, a body of wood and brick and brooding that lays weathered and aging throughout the endless seasons. You sit in wait of someone to consume, for someone to take residence, to slowly digest within your walls, to give you the strength to become more than your foundations would allow. You are more than a house.
Thank you so much. Okay, the first thing that we need to do in this game is each of us needs to add a room or a trait to the house. And in the game book, which we've got here, there are lots of tables at the back to give us ideas. So let's see. House traits, there we go.
Okay.
So yeah, feel free to come up with a room or a house trait. I know that you were eyeing the home cinema earlier, but we may leave that till later.
And we're going to start earlier in the past. Let's have a library. I think a haunted house always needs a library.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, absolutely. I am going to give the house the trait of confusing layout. I'm gonna riff off the success of Blueprints and say that this house has a confusing layout. Possibly not exactly the same as the game, but we'll see. And next up, we need to choose an occupant. So the options available are dependent on the act that we're currently in. So the game has 3 acts. So in Act 1, we need to choose an Act 1 occupant. So, Michelle, who do you think we should send to live in this house?
Oh, I like the idea of the inventor. The inventor in a room with a confusing layout feels right to me.
Yeah.
Let's read it. Shall I read it out
Yeah,
first?
yeah.
So we've got the inventor, inventive, obsessive, and reckless. And we have two questions here. What was the invention that paid for the house? And what ambitious but dangerous projects are they working on?
So yeah, we need to figure out what their name is, what kind of inventor they are, and if anyone else lives with them, and then we need to answer those questions. So
what do you think for a name, Maddy?
I love a sort of eccentric English name with lots of hams and tons in it. Like Bruffington or something.
Bruffington. I love Bruffington.
So do you have an idea for a first name?
Let's go with Emilia. Emilia Bruffington.
Nice. Love it. So what kind of inventor are they? And like what time period are we currently in?
That's a great question. What time period are we in? Maybe the invention will answer that question.
Yeah. Because is it like the electric light bulb, or is it an AI-powered oppression bot? I don't know.
No, it's not haunted by AI, please. I don't want those kinds of ghosts in the machine.
Very fair.
What kind of invention could they have done that would pay for a house? A confusing layout house with a library.
Yeah. Could be something to do with harvesting fossil fuels.
Ooh, okay. Yes. They found a way to extract coal from the ground more efficiently, but at the detriment to the environment of the place where they are digging the mines.
Yeah,
that is what they invented.
Nice. And what ambitious but dangerous project are they working on? Is it still the mining project, or is it something more ambitious?
Maybe they're trying to. It's because you said AI. They're trying to automate it. They're trying to automate coal mining. They're trying to invent some kind of mine digging robot, right? That will do it on its own. And I don't know why. I've got very steampunky visions in my head. Real time period? No. Steampunky time period, obviously.
18 something.
18 cog.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's what it is. They're trying to build a mining robot, a sort of like a many-legged beast that's going to go get coal.
Nice. And do you think that this is the kind of sort of lone genius who doesn't have the time for family, or one who has a family to keep up appearances and bring to like PR events?
Oh,
those are my two first thoughts, but I'm open to any other.
So you're like, either way, they don't care for their family.
Yes.
If they have one, they don't care about it.
I've got a very specific vision that we're coming up with.
I think regardless of whether they have a family, I think that they do have their little automatons, right? They've got little mini ones that they build when they're to work on building the big robot. And I think they care about these little pets, the automatons, much more than any actual family. That's their family, I think.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. I think we have come up with all the necessary things for this occupant.
Yeah,
so
amazing.
Amelia Bruffingham. Yeah. Trying to remember the name I made up.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. It can change every time. I love it.
Yeah. Excellent. So the first turn is the occupant's turn. Now, do you want to be the occupant for this round or the house for this round?
Ooh, that's such a hard choice. We'll get a chance to switch around, won't we?
Yeah.
I'll be Amelia, and you can haunt me.
Great.
I can't wait.
So you get to add or modify a room and add a new standard trait if appropriate. So something normal about this house that this inventor would want to have. So we've got a library, we've got weird layout.
I think it makes sense that Amelia would add a workshop to the house to build their strange creations. And what trait shall I add? May I have a look at the traits in the book, please? I really like the artwork in this book as well. It's got a lovely look to it. Oh, there's rusty and dusty. I think that's what it is. There's dust everywhere from them like adding on this ramshackle kind of workshop onto the already very oddly laid out house.
Nice. So the house pushes back by making its own change to a room, or adding or modifying a spooky trait. So when Amelia is creating this workshop, what sort of supernatural issue does she come across?
Oh, Well, do you decide? Is you're the house, or is this
I think this
still
is still
me?
I think this is still you.
Okay. So they're building this workshop onto the house. It's throwing up dust everywhere. And they just keep being careful to wear a mask over their face. And yet it seems that they are coughing and coughing every night. After they work in that workshop, they always are coughing and coughing and not bringing anything up. But it just feels like there's always a catch in their throat.
Nice. And the occupant adjusts to the strangeness. How does Amelia handle this new sort of issue that this coughing that seems incessant?
I think what they do is they decide, okay, it must be something to do with the dust in this workshop. So I'm going to decamp and do some more work somewhere else. And if I need the workshop, I'm going to send my automatons to go and work. So they're going to build little, I'm imagining like little bugs, bugs. They're going to go and they're going to work for me in the workshop, and I'm just going to stay clear of that room until this cough goes away.
Perfect. Okay. Now it is my turn as the house. The house haunts the occupant. Choose from the haunting table on page 27. Okay. Let's see what we've got. I am instantly struck by the alter reality, bend physics option. So, because I think that would freak out an inventor in particular. So I think that sometimes once all the little robots have been sent off to the workshop and the inventor is alone in their study or in the library doing some research, the books will just start floating up into the air and floating off the shelves. And as soon as she tries to like go and put them all back, they just instantly slot back into place.
No.
So yeah, I think that is...
I immediately pictured that they went, but they were in the wrong place on the shelf, and I got so stressed.
Oh no, the B section is now in the A shelf. So yeah, and the occupant reacts to the house. What action do they take as a result of the haunting? I think they get the robots to build sort of bars for the bookshelves, like kind of like a restricted section sort of vibe, maybe like sort of chicken wire over the bookshelves that you can pull aside to get at a book, and maybe even sort of little straps for the table so that you can strap a book down onto the table while you're reading it. Yes. And it looks wild.
Every time you turn a page, you've got to like undo it all. And
yeah. So that, and the house continues to haunt the occupant. Describe how. Okay, I think that at this point, when the inventor has done this, when they try and leave the library, they just enter back into the library from another door that previously didn't exist. So they just endlessly loop back into the library until at a certain point the house decides that they've had enough and lets the inventor go about their daily business. So yeah, I think like every so often, maybe once a week, it's just like you just don't know if the room is just going to keep repeating back round upon itself like an infinite loop. Now we need to end the occupancy of this inventor.
Okay.
And decide whether they flee, fight, or fall. And so we've got the page 29. We've got various different scenarios that we can decide to inflict on Amelia. And there are questions that correspond to each scenario. So, Michelle, do you think there is something that jumps out at you?
So because you described them locking down the books and then keeping them looping through the library, the trap immediately comes to mind. It seems the house is interested in, they've trapped the books and now the house is trying to trap them, I think.
Yeah. So the house sets a trap for the occupants, seeking to seal them away from the world for good. So if they flee, how do they escape? What do they leave behind? Fight, how do they break free and fight back? And fall, what happens to them once they are ensnared?
Oh, which one do you want to go for this first one? Do you think Amelia would flee, fight, or fall?
I'm tempted to, because I feel like sort of first act of the horror movie thing, it's either you progressively get worse or you start awful and then see how it goes from there. I'm tempted to start awful and just make them trapped in here forever.
Yes. Okay. Let's do it.
So what happens to them once they're ensnared?
So what do we think the trap is? Do you think it is the library? Do you think one day they just keep going? And no matter how many times they go out of that door, they're back in the library again with the books trapped on the shelves and them trapped walking through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what it is. And I think that whoever comes next will occasionally just find a strange, broken down automaton somewhere around the house that they'd sent out to try and get them things. You know, bring me food, bring me things until I can get out of this library. But eventually they all broke down and they weren't able to go get them.
Yeah. So, Amelia manages to survive in the house for some time, but not forever.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. Now it is time for Act 2. We've got a new occupant that we need to come up with.
Oh.
So who is next? So we have to go to the Act 2 occupants. I'm instantly struck by the thespian.
The thespian.
But there are also other fun options.
Happy Pride, we've brought a thespian into the house. It's the 1st of June when we're recording this.
Yes. So fluent, superstitious, and melodramatic. Yes. What kind of elaborate parties do they host in the house? What kind of role are they currently preparing for? Ooh, apologies. I have missed a few stages. We need to decide how long the house will rest before the next occupant.
Oh, yes. So how long is it going to stay empty before someone else moves in? Okay.
I would be inclined to think that because the inventor just kind of disappears, no one really knows that the house is not occupied for a good long time.
Yes.
And then eventually maybe some urban explorer comes along and tries to kind of figure out if anyone's still living there, and it turns out it's unoccupied. So do you think it would be like a decade or decades? That's where I'm leaning, but I'm also open to other options.
No, I like your idea. I think you're right, because if they were quite reclusive, they were always in there working on their strange machines. No one knew. They thought they were just being reclusive and working on inventions, and then they just never emerged. Let's go for a decade. I think that's good.
Nice. So we need to choose one question from Marked by Time or Reflections in the Dark, which are these fun prompts. So is there anything that leaps out to you?
Marked by Time. Let's see. Oh, infestation. That's a fun word. Some creatures have taken residence within your grounds. What are they, and what threat do they pose to you? What do you think? Do you like this one?
Ooh, yeah, that sounds good. I'm inclined to say some kind of vaguely supernatural vermin.
Ooh.
Maybe a sort of rat or mouse that has a very kind of limited, almost teleport ability, so it can just appear and it can gnaw at the skirting boards and the wiring, and so the house doesn't like it, the occupant doesn't like it, no one wins.
No one wins. I'm afraid my immediate reaction was delight at the idea of a teleporting mouse. But if I am a house, I'm probably not delighted. That is fair.
Yeah. No, I would love a teleporting mouse, but yeah, I suspect a sentient house would not.
Probably not. First the clockwork bugs, and now this. It's just can't win. There's always little creatures running around.
Yeah. So back to our thespian, who is coming into this house after a decade. So we'll probably say like late 1800s at this point.
Okay.
So what kind of elaborate parties do they host in the house? Also, what's their name, and maybe what kind of actor are they? And also, do they live with anyone? Those are the kind of standard questions we need to answer.
I'm immediately picturing like a real lovey, which is a slang term, which I should explain, which is, like an older thespian, a man who's very, very flamboyant and is always hanging around the theatre, and everyone knows him because he's had all the lead roles. He's been everybody, darling. And then I'm retiring from the stage. Oh, I know you're begging me not to, but I simply must settle down. I found a wonderful, strange house. They say it used to have a strange inventor in it, He just can't wait to have all of his theatre friends, all his producer friends, and all of the up-and-coming writers, in the scene, over to have these parties, which he calls salons, of course.
Yeah.
Over to have drinks and just wallow in how wonderful they all are and how artistic they all are. I love theatre people, sorry. They're great people, but this particular guy is a little bit full of himself, I think, and he just wants to show off his wonderful house.
Yeah, and it's kind of under the pretense of like nurturing young talent, but it's mainly just to show off.
Yeah, it's mainly so the young talent can say, you're such an inspiration to me. Oh, I loved you when you were playing Richard. And he was like, oh, I've done it so many times, you know.
Perfect. So what is the role they're currently preparing? We're saying that they're retired, so is it they're kind of preparing for the role of like elder statesman of the theatre world?
I think that's it. I think they're perhaps they want to maybe be more on perhaps the production side, or even not actually officially, but influencing the theatre about what kind of shows they put on. So that's my greatest role yet, retirement, darling. That's his role.
Yeah, maybe there's like a guild or something that they're angling for the top position in. Excellent. Okay, what's up next? What's their name?
We need a name for him. I mean, you did so well with Bruffington last time. So well, I've forgotten it. What's a good name for... hey, why don't we crowdsource it, Maddy? What do you think?
Yeah.
What's a good name for our elder statesman thespian, guys? What do you think? Paisley Winters. Come on, Matt. Coming straight out with that.
And yeah, absolutely Paisley pattern theme, like all the ties, all the waistcoats.
Yes, exactly. He knows his brand. Absolutely. He's ahead of the game there.
Excellent. Okay, so it's my turn as the occupant this time.
Ooh.
So I get to add or modify a room. I would love to have, it is not an option in the book, but you are allowed to make up your own. So I think like a small theatre, just like just a little home theatre, just like deeply eccentric, red velvet curtains, maybe even sort of like beautiful nymphs carved into the columns, that kind of stuff.
I love that. I love the idea that whenever he has a party, everyone has to sit through him doing a monologue and applaud.
To be or not to be. Excellent. And the house pushes back by making its own change to a room, adding or modifying spooky trait. Okay. I think that there are strange noises, particularly while Paisley is doing his monologues. I think that there are sounds of heckling that maybe only he can hear. And he like yells out to the audience and is like, who said that? And like everyone's like, we didn't say anything. We were in rapt attention for your beautiful monologue.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and then the occupant adjusts to the strangeness by perhaps kind of wondering if this is all in his head. So he decides not to call out these heckles as much anymore, but still has this kind of haunted, jumpy look that his peers who have known him through the many decades of working in the theatre can see that he is not himself and that he has this paranoia that he didn't have before. He's always been very confident and very loquacious, and now he's getting a bit quiet and a bit pensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, now it's the house's turn.
Ooh, I have to haunt Paisley.
Yes.
So I'll have a look at the haunting table then for some inspo. I think it's the next page there. Oh, communicate. It suggests words on the mirror, whispers in the night, visions in the dark. I think that follows on nicely from what you were saying, that he feels like he hears people shouting, and then he starts to, when he draws a bath, the steam in the window, he thinks for a moment he sees in the window or in the mirrors like all the worst, most awful reviews he ever got from critics. He sees little quotes from them, and then but the steam comes up and they disappear, and he tells himself, no, it's nothing. But he feels as though sometimes he's practicing lines. He's retired, but he can't help himself. He just loves to perform, and he hears creaks that almost sound like giggles, like someone's laughing at him, and he can hear and he can see all of these things telling him, you're not as good at performing as everyone tells you are. You're not.
Beautiful, yes. And how does Paisley react to this? What are the kind of coping strategies that he attempts to wield in this situation?
Yeah, I think that he becomes more and more sort of bullish. He keeps bringing having more parties. He keeps trying to be more influential. He starts saying, maybe I won't retire just yet. I might have a few more performances in me. But he can see the lack of enthusiasm. Everybody around him knows he's changing. They know there's something not right. No one knows how to talk to him about it. But he reads it again as they think I've lost it. They think they've lost my flair. And he becomes more and more paranoid that people are laughing at him. People don't believe in him anymore. He's lost it.
Yeah. And the house continues to haunt the occupant.
I feel very bad for what I'm doing to Paisley. I'm not a very good haunted house. I feel very guilty. But I think it just carries on. It just carries on that every time, especially when he goes into his little home theatre, he hears them worse now. He sees the writing in dust particles in the air. He hears the laughter and the heckling from all around. The echoes of his monologues sound wrong. And it just gets to the point where he doesn't want to have people come over anymore. He doesn't want to perform for people. And that's what he's always done. That's what he loves. And he just can't bring himself to do it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it is time to end the occupancy, to decide if Paisley flees, fights, or falls.
I think you should choose this time, Maddy.
Okay, I'll have a look. I wonder if the occupant falls under the influence of the house and begins to act through them.
Ooh.
And the house begins to act through them. Do you think that Paisley manages to flee, to regain control, or to fall under the house's influence and become possessed?
Oh, I think I would love for him to flee, but I think that with the way we've gone, I think he may fall again.
Let's have a think about what the house might have him do. I wonder if he just has this endless show that he puts on that he can't stop doing. Like, he starts at the beginning of the completed works of Shakespeare and just works his way through playing all the roles. And at first people are like, oh, what a jolly eccentric thing to do. And then when it seems like it's really serious and he doesn't stop to eat or drink, he just keeps going. He knows all the lines perfectly. And the house is just puppeting him. And eventually he just collapses from exhaustion.
Oh, yeah, it happens in a moment. He's working through Shakespeare and it happens, and there are many moments where people die dramatically in Shakespeare and just say things such as, I am dying, because it's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
And he has one of those moments and he collapses, and his friends, those who are still there, worried for him, but wanting to see him and check he's okay. They see it and they think for a moment, he's found that spark again. This is his greatest performance, but he doesn't get up. And that is how Paisley falls.
Yeah. We're doing quite well for time. So would you like to do another Act 2 occupancy, or would you like to move on to Act 3?
Let's do another. Another.
Sweet. Okay. So which of these jumps out to you? We've got the thespian, the professional, the young couple, the renovator, the caretaker, and the squatter.
Ooh, the squatter. I think one of those up-and-coming writers that was in Paisley's circle after he passes away in his endless performance, decides to take up residence for a while until, the house might not get sold again for a while, so maybe I could stay here. It is it's got a little theatre in it. It's great.
Nice. So how long do you think before this squatter takes up residence? Do you think it's like a month, or it's more like a year, or?
I think it's pretty quickly. I think they might be being a little bit mercenary. I think it's only a month. Yeah.
So we don't have any prompts for this one, so we can move straight on into the squatter.
Okay.
Guarded, resourceful, and suspicious. So we've already established how they first heard of the house. This struggling artist who is taking advantage of this cavernous abode that has recently become vacant. And how do they make the house their own?
Interesting.
I wonder if this particular writer is somewhat of an amateur botanist and brings in lots of plants and just sort of takes advantage of the flowers in the garden, but maybe is a little agoraphobic, doesn't like going out too much, and so tries to bring the outside in.
Oh, I like that.
Tries to make it a sort of greenhouse paradise for themselves. but probably not for very long. So what kind of name would this character have?
I mean, it went so well last time. Shall we ask
Yeah.
ask our friends? Does
Yes.
anyone have a name for our slightly self-interested writer who loves to bring the outside in? Now, Megan, you have such a look on your face as though you have a thought. Give us a name. Thomas Evers. Thomas Evers. That's a good name.
Yes,
That's
I
a
like
good
it a
name
lot.
for our writer. Thank you.
Okay, so it is now your turn to describe what Thomas Evers does to this house.
Okay.
So adds or modifies a room.
All right. I think, I love your suggestion of bringing in the plants. So I think that's what it is. He turns that library into more like a plant room. There's still that strange chicken wire over all of the books. And he is now using it to kind of like build vertical planters, build plants. So the bookshelves become planters. He puts all these plants in. And of course, it's a library. It's not designed to have all of these books planted in it. So the dirt and the roots kind of damage the structure and the walls and the shelving and all of this beautiful old library and transform it into his little plant paradise.
Nice. And then the house pushes back, making its own change to a room, adding or modifying a spooky trait. So how does the house feel about this alteration to the library?
I think the house is furious. How dare this person who didn't even, I mean, it's very, very obnoxious that anyone thinks they can own me. But this person didn't even do the hard work of making a purchase. He's just moved in and he's ruining my library. So I think that the plants just keep dying. No matter how well he tries to look after them, despite the fact there's a lovely sunlight at the top of the library, letting plenty of light get in, no matter how well he tries to look after them, whenever one's starting to look really lovely, like it might blossom into a beautiful flower soon, it dies. And he can't keep them alive.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And how does the occupant adjust to the strangeness? How does Thomas figure out a way around this?
What does Thomas do? I think Thomas just keeps bringing in more and more plants. He's like, they can't all die. I've just got to keep bringing in more plants. The floor soon is covered. It's not even in pots anymore. There's just dirt with plants growing out of it all over the floor of the library. There's things hanging. It's like a jungle in there. You can barely move for all of the leaves and the plants. And he's spritzing them and he's taking care of them all the time, just trying desperately to keep them alive.
Beautiful. Okay. And my turn as the house. The house haunts the occupant. So back to the haunting table. I think I'm going to start off relatively petty and just start by hiding the gardening equipment. Just like, where's the trowel? Where's the fork? Where's the watering can? Cannot find them anywhere. And then eventually, because this is kind of the hobby of this person, it's a very sort of dedicated hobby, but still a hobby. Then eventually it's like, where's my pen? Where's my paper? Where's my notebook? And so just constantly losing objects that he needs to carry on his daily tasks. And as a result, I think Thomas Evers, he will hole himself up in his kind of plant library, set up a desk in there, and just put every single thing that he needs on a table in a precise alignment, so that like all at right angles, and like maybe even with tape to delineate where these objects should go. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as he sees one has disappeared, he's like, aha, it wasn't me. I didn't just drop it somewhere. So yeah, I think becomes quite obsessive about it. And I think at this point, the house, suddenly one day, the table just isn't there. Yeah, Thomas just starts to lose the plot a bit. We will figure out whether he can stand this by ending the occupancy. Do you think that he flees, fights, or falls?
I think from the way you've described how Thomas fought back his well, I'm going to put out marks. I'm going to prove this house is doing something. I think he's going to fight. I think he's going to fight back.
Nice.
Which is it going to be? I like this. Okay, we've got the temptation. Something in the house beckons to the occupant, inviting them to abandon safety in its pursuit. But how does Thomas destroy the source of their temptation? So I think that Thomas has holed up in this plant library and feels that they are safe here, where they can keep an eye on what this strange force is doing. But they receive a letter. Now, no one's supposed to know that they're here in this house, so it's very odd that they receive a letter. But a letter does appear just at the door of the library. And when they pick it up, they see that it is a local theatre that wishes to purchase their latest play that they've written. And they've been a struggling writer and up-and-comer. They've wanted to have a play sold, and this could be their chance. But of course, well, they can't very well go and do that and write back if they stay in the library. I mean, the desk is gone, for one thing. So they're going to have to be tempted to leave their sanctum that they've created and head back out into the world. So how are they going to fight to destroy the source of that temptation?
I think Thomas is going to set fire to the library. I think Thomas is going to destroy all the plants that he spent so long tending to and trying to keep alive. And as it goes up in smoke, he finally feels like the first sense of relief that he has in perhaps years, if he spent that long there. And he manages to fight his way out of the burning house and, collapse, relieved but exhausted on the pavement, suffering from smoke inhalation, but still alive, still breathing, and sort of staggers off into the night looking for his next adventure.
Good for Thomas. He got a bit weird there in the middle, but he made it out.
He had an arc.
He did.
All right. Do you think it is time to go on to Act 3?
I think it might be. So do we need to leave the house vacant again?
We do. So how long do you think since the arson?
I think it would be a long time. I mean, the house, I think it wasn't just the library. I think the house was really badly damaged by that fire. So I think it just sits abandoned and a burnt out old house for decades and decades, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. What do you think? Would it be a century?
Ooh.
Would it sit for 100 years or not quite that long?
I think, I'd be interested to see what 100 years later would look like. So so we've got to choose a question from Mark by Time or Reflections in the Dark.
Should we do a Reflections in the Dark? I think we haven't looked at that, right?
I'm quite, considering what has just happened, I'm quite tempted by anger.
Anger. Resentful and indignant, your rage flares and soars. What is the source of your fury and your wrath?
I think, the fact that Thomas has desecrated our body as the house, has lashed out so aggressively. Like we were only having a bit of fun with him. We were just playing around. We were just having some jokes and some laughs, and he just took it way too far. And now we're alone, so it's kind of it's both a loneliness and an anger. I think it's a sort of an impotent rage that can't really be expressed because there's no one to take it out on.
It is. We're just alone and damaged, and we have nobody to pick on, and it's not fair.
Until who do you fancy for this?
3. Who do we choose for Act 3? I mean, the investigator might be good. If it's sat abandoned for such a long time, the investigator could be interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be great. Curious, observant, and skeptical. So what do they think is happening in the house? What protections have they brought with them? Any good investigator names?
Would anyone like to name our investigator? Cassidy McGraw.
Yes.
3 for 3 on amazing names. This is great. Okay. Cassidy McGraw. Yeah, I think that she has come because she's heard, there's a lot of stories, ghost stories have sprung up around this strange house. Once there was an inventor there who disappeared, then there was this actor who went mad, and then it was sitting empty and it just burst into flames one day and no one knows why. So I think there's a lot of ghost stories over the years about this strange burned out house. And I think Cassidy McGraw, she wants to find out, she's a bit of a ghost hunter, and she wants to find out if it's true that there are ghosts here.
Yeah.
What protections have they brought? What do you think?
If it's been a century since the last occupant, then it's probably early. Now this is me doing maths, so it may be wrong. So wait, so if it was like 1890, yeah, so maybe it's like 1990 kind of time.
Oh man, she's a 90s investigator. Love that for her.
Like probably has all sorts of like ghost hunting tech and like, I don't know, radars and ectoplasm detectors and all this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, one of those EMP things.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
So yeah, I think that she thinks that being able to figure out where these emanations are coming from will keep her safe, but that may or may not be true. Okay, so I think it's my turn to be the occupant this time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so.
Great. So the occupant adds or modifies a room. I think Cassidy would take over the old workshop that the inventor had and would maybe kind of tinker with some of the old automatons that were there and see if she can reverse engineer what was here in the past, try and fix them up to see if they could still run and maybe offer some insight into the past of this house. And then the house pushes back by making its own change to a room or adding or modifying spooky traits. So I think that there are spectral forms. I think the house is like, well, if Cassidy wants ghosts, let's give Cassidy ghosts.
Yeah.
And I think just trolling her, like, creates these ghosts that are completely unrelated to the previous occupants of the house. Yes. Like, maybe there's like this, maybe because I'm obsessed with the Ninth Doctor, Doctor Who, maybe there's a creepy child in a gas mask that just...
No, you can't, no. We can't make this actually scary, Maddy. Oh my God.
Maybe there's also like a bride who was jilted on her wedding day and like has a white dress that's covered in blood. And there's like all these really classic ghosty things that are just cliches at this point. So if she tells anyone about them, they'll be like, you're just making this up, man.
You're like, oh, a creepy child and a bride who was jilted. Okay, Cassidy.
Yeah. So and the occupant adjusts to the strangeness, I think, by going into the sort of emotionless investigative zone where she is just like, this is my job, this is what I'm good at, I am going to document every single thing, meticulous note-taking. There's notebooks filled with all the movements of these spectral spirits. Yeah, she's trying to view it as like an intellectual exercise rather than something that is genuinely out to get her. So yeah, now your turn. What does the house do to haunt?
Well, we've been having some fun with Cassidy, but what we've done so far, making the ghosts, doesn't seem to have really phased her at all. She's great. She's found evidence of ghosts. I think she's putting it all on her, it's the 90s. She definitely has a blog. She has Cassidy McGraw's ghost blog. It's not a very good name, but it was all she could come up with.
Yeah.
Not in the moment.
At least the domain name is free.
Yes. So she's writing down like all of these stories, and like, yeah, she's getting some comments from people being like, not very original. I was about to say creepypasta, but I think that's too early. The 90s is too early for the word creepypasta. But she's just keeping documenting it. And she's like, well, I got some recordings of ghost voices on my little dictaphone. Like, I've got proof they are real. But I think that we're going to have manipulate objects. And I think that what she starts finding is that all of her ghost hunting tech starts malfunctioning in strange ways. So she hears this recording that she heard of like a spooky voice on the tape recorder, but when she tries to get the file onto her computer, it corrupts. The audio's not there. When she thinks she's found a photograph that shows a light orb, when she tries to like scan the picture and put it up on the blog, the picture just looks normal on the computer, even though she's holding it right here. So anytime she tries to like prove to the world that she's found ghosts and she's got all this evidence, it just somehow doesn't work. her reaction to this is just to become, she gets more steadfast. She's investigating, she's uncovering everything she can. She finds the chicken wire in the library. She finds the odd table with the straps on it, and she finds the old theatre, and she moves around it, and she still seems to hear those strange noises that Paisley was afflicted by. She starts to uncover the true story of this house and not the silly lies that the house has been feeding her. And she starts to tell this story. And even though her machines aren't working, people start to take interest in the things that she's writing about. But the house keeps haunting her. The house keeps haunting her. And I think the house is having fun with this new technology. It's been sat not since the little copper bugs that we hated so much has there been technology in this house. And I think eventually the house, we figure out how to control the computer itself. And when she's trying to write on her blog, the keyboard starts typing for her and typing different things, typing warnings, get out, get out, get out of me. You don't belong here. And that is what starts to happen when she tries to use her computer.
Amazing. Excellent. So does Cassidy flee, fight, or fall?
Oh, do we think this is going to be our last occupant?
I think it possibly will be.
In that case, what do we think? I think everyone else should get to decide if Cassidy flees, fights, or falls. Yeah. What do we think, team? Who's got an opinion? She feels like a fighter. We're going to fight? Okay. The people have spoken. You want to fight us. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe considering that Cassidy is discovering the true history of the house, perhaps she discovers a tome from the inventor's library.
Ooh.
And it's filled with unknowable secrets and terrible purpose. What threat does the tome pose to the house?
Oh, okay. So this is a tome. Despite the smoke damage, despite the fact there seems to be dirt between the pages somehow, this tome, I think, it's an old occult kind of tome, and it has the ritual that can be performed to send the house back to sleep, so it no longer will awaken and haunt the people who come to it.
Yeah. So perhaps Cassidy kind of seeks the advice of an occultist that she knows through her kind of ghost hunting network, and she gathers a team.
Yeah, she gets her Ghostbusters. Yes. She grew up watching that movie and it influenced her a lot.
Yeah. So she gathers a team of like-minded individuals to gather all the components for this ritual, and they all gather in the library where it all began. And among all the ruins of all the previous occupants, they gather in a big circle. They have candles. They have to offer up a drop of their blood. As the ritual continues, the house itself screams. And it's like every single door, window, wall, floor in the house is just creaking and groaning all at once. And one of the new Ghostbusters is terrified and wants to run, but Cassidy holds them fast. And so they can't leave, and the circle isn't broken. And as they stand steadfast in this kind of cacophony, seeing all these terrible spectres of the real ghosts of the past occupants, the thespian, the inventor, the squatter, they manage to, through sheer force of will, complete the ritual, and the house eventually falls silent for the last time.
That was evocative as fuck.
Thank you.
That ruled.
So now it is time for the epilogue. What do you think happens to the house after this point? Does it remain empty after Cassidy manages to kind of exorcise it?
I think that this old house with its strange layout and its rooms, it's a library, but it's full of plant matter. It's a workshop, and it's whenever you go in there, you cough. It's all smoke damaged and burned, and the only people who ever go there are sort of people who believe silly stories you read on the internet. And I think that eventually a developer buys the land, and they can make much better use of it than this rickety old burned up house. And the house is asleep, and it can't fight back as it's bulldozed, and eventually no trace of it remains.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think the most boring business flats get built on this site. Just a square grey box full of one-bedroom, extortionately priced apartments.
They're called luxury apartments, but no one's found the luxury. Yeah. But, they have the luxury of not fighting back when you move into them. So there is that.
Yeah. And maybe on one night a year, maybe on the anniversary of the ritual, there is the occasional spectral spirit that wanders through the halls, but only for that one night, and is so faint and so quiet that only the youngest child who still has the wonder of the supernatural in them can spot them.
Yeah, absolutely. And occasionally people complain of mice, but they never seem to be spotted. They seem to vanish as quickly as they appear.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, I think that's the end of our game.
I think that's our story.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming to Game of One's Own Live. It's been an absolute pleasure. Michelle, where can we find you on the internet and more of your wonderful work?
You can find me at Michelle Helicopter on the socials. I'm also part of Euphoria AP, an actual play studio, all about uplifting the diversity and talent of TTRPG creators, performers, writers, all sorts of TTRPG folks across Europe and everywhere outside the US. We love to shout about all sorts of amazing European games. And we had a great time playing this game. So thank you so much for inviting me to play. Oh, and thank you to Matt, Megan, and Nick for helping us tell the story by naming our characters.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you again for being here for this episode of Game of One's Own. You can find the show at A Game of One's Own on Blue Sky and Instagram, and you can find me at Maddy is Abstract on those platforms as well. And make sure to check out Haunting by Arcane Atlas Games on itch.io or on their website, arcaneatlas.games. And hope to see you next time for more weird stories. Goodbye.